So now we're going to move into where to actually find good instructors. What's worked for us? First, Indeed has worked well. We post specific roles, not generic enrichment instructor. If we are this role teach coding programs, we post for a coding instructor. Generic instructor does not work for getting the candidates that will be excited and the most aligned with that role long term. Posting the specific role attracts those specific candidates that you're looking for. We find that boosting the position, the role on Indeed, works so much better than not sponsoring. So boosting, you could do that for as little as $5 a day, and you could do that over 2 to 3 days in the area that you're hiring for. And what we found in our mid-sized city is that the number one, the quality of the applicants that we get, but also the volume of the applicants we get makes the cost well worth it. So now we don't need to host for 2 weeks or a whole week. We can boost for 1 to 2 days and we have all the volume to then just hire, to go through the interview sequence and then hire our person. So it saves us a lot of time. The difference between a boosted or sponsored job post and not, it is dramatic. So try it. Let me know how it works for you. We hire geographically. Instead of posting for the entire city, we will post for the specific area that we have the programs we are looking to have filled. Some may try the strategy of, I'll just post my entire town, the entire city as the service area, and the instructors have to be willing to travel anywhere. People will say that they're comfortable with that, and then you hire them and they don't want to travel longer than 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. So starting off with being geographically specific and contained in your hiring strategy to the extent possible is going to yield instructors that are more comfortable with the travel requirements for that position and able to sustain that over time. We also find that university partnerships are helpful. Now we're going to the interview process. So what actually predicts success? I've interviewed a lot of instructor candidates, and before interviewing instructor candidates, my career was spent interviewing teacher candidates. The best indicator I've learned for how someone will perform in a room with children is how they show up in conversation with you. And the best performer of future behavior is past behavior. So 5 qualities that I look for in all of my interviews. One is genuine warmth and enthusiasm for kids. And this goes at the top of the list for me because working with children is just really hard and really stressful. If the love isn't there, then a lot of times it's going to feel like it's not worth it, because there are fun and funny moments, but there are a lot of really challenging moments. And so when things get hard, the general positive regard and warmth for children is what's going to sustain you. It shouldn't feel like a performative, I love kids, but it should come across to you as authentic. And you can judge this by asking, tell me about a time you worked with a child who was disengaged or who had difficulties. What did you do? And that answer will tell you almost everything about how they approach working with children. The second thing I look for in interviews is comfort being the least cool person in the room. So kids are going to test you, they test the limits. The instructor who takes it personally will struggle. And so the one who finds it even amusing or stays curious and does not get personally offended, that's the person who will thrive. The first question that I just referred to kind of hints to this. Well, tell me about a time you had a difficulty and what did you do? How did you navigate that? And you can also ask for this question: what do you do when a class is not going the way you planned? When you've taught a group before, say they were a camp instructor. So tell me about a time where a lesson didn't go the way you planned. What did you do about it? And in there, you're looking for some ownership, some humility. Maybe they didn't have a chance to review the lesson beforehand. I've had teacher candidates in the past say, like, and reflecting, they were having a bad day. And then the kids had a bad day and they felt bad. And then it was just this downward spiral. And then how they had to stop and pause and regroup. The third thing I look for is reliability and professionalism. And that is so important for this type of role because instructors are traveling to totally different places. A lot of times it's just them and the student. So if you hire someone else to teach music lessons for your music business, they have to be there consistently for all of those lessons. They cannot be late. Some lessons for younger children can be as short as 15 minutes. You cannot be 5 minutes late to a 15-minute lesson and not seriously frustrate your customer, aka their parent guardian. That's a no-go. So timeliness is imperative, especially with child care. That's what we're semi in the business of. So when parents, for example, from my contacts, during a camp, parents will drop off their children. As the parent of an elementary age kid, I know that early is on time in this realm. So parents will arrive 5 to 10 minutes early to drop off their child because a lot of times during school breaks, they have to get to work. So they'll be there. If your instructor or instructors are not there early, they should be to set up, to unlock, to make sure everything is prepared. But they should also be there early, knowing that participants are going to start showing up, not right at that minute, but early. And that is a first bit of trust that instructor has with the families that are coming in, is if when they come 5 minutes early, the lights are on, the doors are open, things are set up, an adult is ready with a smile, with their roster, ready to start the day. We want to make sure that they are reliable and that they are very professional in their interactions, knowing that parents may have anxiety, many do, the first time that they are meeting the instructor, the first time they're going into the space. So, yeah, very important. And for here, you can just judge their behavior with the interview. Did they show up on time? Did they totally miss it and forget it? Do they follow through on the paperwork? Are they timely in communication with you throughout the interview and hiring process? And these are the small things that indicate really big things later on for your business. Number four, what I look for is coachability, because we all are works in progress. And especially in this area, a lot of training and professional development looks like on the spot coaching. And so a person has to be receptive to that structure to thrive and to improve over time. And so to assess this, you can ask, tell me about a time where you received feedback. You can even say, tell me about a time where you received some critical feedback that changed how you approach something. And here you want to see what the critical feedback was and how they grew. And like how long it takes them to come up with something is also telling. I've used this one throughout my career as well. And it's really interesting when people can come up with something quickly or it takes them a super long time, and how transparent they're willing to be with that thing is telling. So that's one that I recommend. Hire for teaching, train for the topic. So that was words of wisdom from another operator who is 17 years into his business, his journey, and I could not agree more. You hire for the teaching, you can train for the topic. So now we're going to go into what actually keeps good instructors. Here are some practical retention actions to consider. One, making sure your instructors feel seen. Specific, genuine acknowledgement versus great job. The disruptions discontinued after that, so it was highly effective. You didn't let it interrupt the flow of your lesson. Great work on that. Something like that. So make sure they feel prepared. Curriculum, resources, a point of contact, and processes are important. So make sure those things are in place. Make sure they are paid correctly and on time, always. No excuses. If you make a mistake, apologize and make it right, and make sure that you're not making those mistakes continuously. Get your systems in place. Make sure that they have someone to call when something goes wrong at a site. When an instructor does not have that, they can really feel that they are alone on an island, and we don't want them to feel like that, especially if physically they are all alone on the basketball court, in the gymnasium with the children, or they are all alone in the martial arts studio already. Like physically, they really are all alone. Reach out to an instructor that is doing well. If you observe them doing something well, reach out to them and express that specific appreciation outside of a performance review or a formal observation. Just give them genuine, specific acknowledgement and appreciation for something that they've done. And that one touch point does more for retention than any policy.